sublime. It is the light, the guiding light, from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. In the depths of your being, the truth resides. Embrace your power, let your spirit rise. With every step forward, you transcend the expanded conscious community we commend. Through trials and triumphs, your soul evolves in the symphony of life, where every note resolves. Listen to the whispers of your inner voice. In unity and love, let your heart rejoice. It is the light, the guiding light, from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. It is the light, the guiding light, from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. As we gather together in this sacred space, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day. One faith, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Life Coach Malachi here on Expanded Consciousness. Are we here? Yes. Always good to be here. I've been running headphones here lately. I can hear myself. Who's in the building? All right. Oh, hey. Of course, the mothers, that's who you know what? Thank you guys. You can always depend on the mothers of the room, of the space, to show up, to show out. And as we grow and people connect and things change, it's like they've been here. What are you talking about? I don't know where you've been. The great Miss Lynn. I appreciate it. Yes, greetings to you. And I guess Miss Dolores made it back to the D. Hopefully your funeral that you went to with your dear friend there in Alabama went really well for you. Mother Gwen, good evening. And Miss Marie, yes, yes. I guess we may get connected sometime here. You're in town. Is that Tara? That's interesting. I think that is. That name is throwing me off a little bit. Hey, Miss Shara. All right. Here we go. We are in the house. Things are looking good. Of course, I want everyone to, of course, understand and know that, of course, everything is good with yeah, I can understand if you're not close by, but as far as the retreat goes, it's basically here in Tulsa. Excuse me. It's outside of the city, but it's wonderful, cool place, and I got an agenda that's stacked. I plan on bringing a lot of things that are related to what I want to do with the Institute of Expanded Consciousness, which is some things we're going to go over this evening, actually. Moving into more of a format of understanding and learning. Just to get straight to it, like you're deconstructing your life and your reality, right? You're deconstructing, hopefully, throughout your whole life, you're deconstructing different things, right? What you used to believe about certain things, and you don't believe it anymore. You had to go through something, you had to experience something to say, you know what, I don't believe that anymore. That doesn't hold up anymore. Anybody ever experience that in life? Anybody here on the stream ever experience like um something you used to do and something you used to believe, and you just kind of like, nah, I'm good. I don't believe that anymore, right? I'm ready. I'm doing something different. Uh, I found myself. I'm finding myself. I'm becoming myself. You know, Brother Thomas, I found a book with The Secret of Life at the Listening Room with your initials. Huh. That's interesting. You know, I can't wait to see what that's about. John and I talk about those all the times. Those are synchronicities. See, there's things that there as far as like alchemy and things that you would say synchronicities and alignment and how you feel about who you are. Like everything is definitely energy, and it can affect you. Believe me, like it can. Things can affect you in your life, and it is affecting you in your life. But what a lot of times we just don't necessarily believe that certain things are affecting us or certain things are happening because of us. And I'll tell you, there's a lot in my life that I'm just like, man, if I would have knew this now, what I know now, if I would have knew then, and blah blah blah, we all go through that, right? And my thing is like, we got to be present and we got to be here now. What do y'all think? We got to be present. We got to be here now. We have that option. Let's. It's time to definitely time to elevate. Um, I thought I was going to show you. I was going to show you something with the retreat itself. just I will tell you this much about it, and that is that the location and the forest itself is a guide. We don't understand that, like, this earth itself, we are a part of the earth, and the earth itself is a guide. I feel like I have a delay, but it's a guide. Like, it's we are there's more to life than what we see. There's so much more to life than what we see. And we're all kind of in the same era and the same time experiencing the evolution of who we are and what we have, right? If you guys stick around today, this evening, right? I'm not here just, I don't want to just be here yapping and just talking. I really would like to really have uh, as they say, a conference or to confer, right? I really like to have a moment of where we have an idea or something that we're all experiencing, and then all of us get to have just a um, transformation. We get to have some level of connecting. So, um, what you're going to experience and what I want you to hear this evening is that some things you don't know, some things you may not know, but really you do know it. And everyone is you pushed out. There is these people, even the people that you don't care for. It is another version of you, as in another human being. And that human being may be misguided in some kind of way, but nonetheless, they are a human being. And tonight, I would like to just go straight to this. I will go to straight to this. And if you're just sitting there and you want to type in the comments, just type what now? What now? What now? Like, we're experiencing some of the most prolific times in our era. And I think there's not too many eras in time that you can actually mimic what this feels like. I'm sorry, what this transition does. You could probably mimic what it feels like, but I'm not sure about the transmission or the change. It's one thing to become a democracy and to have laws and rules, amendments to the Constitution as we change and we try to make things better for people, fair or equal rights, or we do we've done these things. We've had some decent success at trying to make the world better, realizing that some of the things that we can do to other people, right? The difference between morals and ethics. Morals are personal. Some people think that we need a Bible, and or if we didn't have a Bible, then we wouldn't know how to treat people fairly or right. So you use that same tool to treat people wrong? Is that what what I'm saying? But tonight I want to sit with a question that sounds simple, but if you let it get inside you, if you let it get inside you, let it just resonate with you. We can we can embody, right? There's a difference when we embody something. And so sorry. It's but it's a really deep human being to ask, "What now? What now?" Not a trend, not a trend of what's happening, nothing to do with just a politician. We're getting tired of that. And definitely not, as we talked about on here, not a church or what side that you are on or believing. What I mean is, what now when the structures that has helped us interpret reality, and a lot of this stuff is no longer holding. Let it settle in, because trauma has a way of hiding itself. You experience something and your brain and your brain has a way, your body has a way to store it and move on. And we never revisit or we never come back to that until maybe someone works with us. Various levels, various skills, and they work with us. But now, we've talked about deconstructing, but I just want to be cognizant of what people may be experiencing and try to be a help. I work and I do this. This is what I do. Sorry, I need to pick up my notes here, make them a little higher. What we are experiencing in life, and sometimes it seems like it's not getting any better. So as I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I'm aware and cognizant of emotions and feelings, and be able to make space. Sometimes we beat it on the bush or beat it down, and then we're left empty, or we're left with this energy. I know a lot of people on here that listen to me are fairly experienced at life, but you still can have that question. Where do we go from here? When these structures no longer hold. What now when the veil seems to thin and you don't have much clarity, but we really can feel the veil thinning? What now when religion can feel kind of hollow because they've taken it their direction? You see the politics in there becoming like theater, and your whole own inner world, it just doesn't fit the stories that we've lived by. You could go to a lot of places and hear about what's wrong and how to switch your theology or have a new way of thinking philosophically. But I know and understand that clarity can really matter. And I know that's where a lot of people are living right now. Whether you feel it politically or you feel it spiritually, man, you might even be feeling it in your body. You may feel it in your relationships. The sense of what's real. And the common thread isn't just information overload. It's almost like a symbolic collapse. Some things are like symbolic because it's like this doesn't make any sense because these institutions are they're still standing. You can have some people and they're talking about God or Jesus, and you're like, doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't sound like the God or Jesus I know. You know, or the one that talks about love, unconditional, and you can see someone get beat up or killed or thrown into the car or separated from their family, and you can feel validated. You could feel that this is what I guess God wants. It's amazing that these institutions are still standing. But I'll tell you, the meaning inside them is just kind of running out. You know? But I'm here to tell you that's why so many people are tired. You're very reactive, hungry for something real. Because collapse isn't only what falls apart on the outside of you, it's really what it feels like on the inner side or the inner map and how that feels with us. So if you don't understand that, we can mistake that disorientation of how that feels for failure when it may actually just be the beginning of an expansion of consciousness. Anybody feel that? Thank you if you've tapped in and tuned in today, this evening. I'm talking about what now, especially after we have many of us have talked about deconstructing and talked about, you know, questioning what we believe. And now here we are in a space where we could feel lost or not much clarity, right? And a lot of the gaslighting coming from our government. And the thing is I'll tell you, it's not about just the administration, but it's all of it. How did this take place? How did this happen? Was it supposed to happen? Did it need to happen? The gaps and the holes, the shifting, right? A lot of people are tired and very reactive. And a lot of people want to see and they want to feel something real. And that could be good for us, to be honest. It really is. As if we could make it through the growing pains. Certainty. What we felt was certain, your 401k and your retirement, and you go get a job and you work. My mother, I guess she's technically will have 44 years at Walmart, but she had a year or so gap, putting her at 33 years and 11 years. So she's got 44 years at Walmart. Long time. And that was a time when you had that level of certainty where you go to a company and you work for that company. That company pays you money and you work there until you retire and you just do what you do to enjoy life before you check out, right? Physically. But none of those systems work the same anymore. Doesn't work the same. So we have to all understand that there is more than what we have been told. The veil has been thinned so you can see through some of these gaps and some of these holes. Corporations basically understand that they have been running the world, but now they want more. Certainty is often just social conditioning with confidence. Certainty is just a form of social conditioning with confidence. And so when we start talking about consciousness, it can cost more. See, it requires surviving the death of all the old things without rushing to grab the next thing, right? That's what we usually do. And most people don't want that. They just want relief. That's just the thing. You want relief. Why do you want relief? They want relief because the nervous system needs to calm down, and we're just now understanding and get connected to what the nervous system is. You can have something in your mind and you can have something that way you feel, but your nervous system, your body is it actually stores stress and moments of stress. That's basically what PTSD is. It's stored a moment of stress that's still there. And our nervous systems can respond to the experiences from the past. I've found out there's people that have talked about going through this transpersonal psychology work, and there there's some research that says basically what has happened to you as you don't deal with tragedy or you don't deal with trauma, you can store that or experience that trauma and then it can come out as a form of cancer. They've had some research where a German doctor, where they can look at what happens, like a guy had testicular cancer, but they did an EEG and or a CAT scan, I believe. No, it was EEG, and they seen a section of his brain where he had some level of trauma, and his research is related to trauma causing diseases. Trauma causing diseases, or a disease or disease in the body. So, what I'm going to talk to you and what we're talking about tonight is vitally important that you listen and understand that you're doing certain things to process certain levels of trauma that you may even be experiencing today. Mm. Most people want some level of relief. That's what it comes down to it. As you storing this, and the nervous system is a big part of it. They want someone to tell them who the enemy is and who to follow, right? And now you can't trust that anymore. And so here we are in this space of life where power moves toward those who can manipulate perception. And we may be experiencing some of that. And the thing is this it's not always the wisest person. And these people can still use some level of alchemy, right? In the Egyptian era, let's just say that, see, you had these things called the mystery schools. And I think we may talk about that a little later here. But the mystery schools, and in the mystery schools, they would talk about certain things and the powers and the things that we can do of who we are and the reality and the shifting reality and being able to basically you're co-creating the world, co-creating the universe, and things around you conform or people can conform to your creation or co-creation of the world. But a lot of that stuff got a lot of this information, it's kind of widely available now, but it gets with everyone having the ability to do this and understanding it. Not everybody understands it, but the people that do understand it don't necessarily have to have morals or follow ethics in terms of justice and treating people fairly. If they can use things to manipulate other people, they will. Hmm. This it kind of makes me think about the ego and why the ego can become um, very powerful and not being able to balance and connect to, right, the inner self can really cause a person to do things to other people. And as they do this over and over and over and over again, you can become immune to what you're doing and addicted to the rush and to the dopamine. 100% kind of what led to it's probably other childhood trauma and other things that led to an Epstein being who he was because he was actually, I think, a physicist. And so being able to actually be a person that can outsmart or outwit major people, billionaires, and major classes of systems and governments. It's a form of alchemy, a sickening, but a form of alchemy where you can live in this precarious life and then use that power to get power. And you really start believing it yourself and you start using that to manipulate people. That's the world we have been living in. Pretty wild, if you ask me. And the question is, what do we do about it? What do we do about it? Hmm. People hear this often. They hear that talking about the laziness. My notes here are kind of weird. Um, we're gonna move over to my other ones here. You start typing and typing and typing, and then get it corrected, and then it's like, wait a minute, that's a little off. But essentially, where I'm going is this: For the last 100 years, we have been building on top of an infrastructure foundation for the last 120 years. We've been building on top of a foundation, especially here in this country, that was not completely strong in um ethically or morally. It had its flaws, it had its problems. Of course, belief, religion was used significantly to manipulate, but the other side of the coin is that it was still yet had some power in it. It had enough to help people get through certain times. Only thing certain people have was a spiritual, right? A song. Their belief, they were allowed to believe in um, the form of God that came through the book they call the Bible, not really given much outside of that. And really, when you first establish in certain people, they were given it in a certain way, slave Bible, they were getting it in a certain way that hopefully it can control the narrative, it can control more people. And now here we are. What now? We've come to the agreement that a lot of us come to the agreement that this is just not making sense, right? This is not working. Bishop Carlton Pearson, who you know me from in 2005, had made more of a declaration because I think it has worked on him all his life before that, where he basically lost it all. And 20 years goes by just for him alone, let alone that I understand that other people have deconstructed, but it has never been a such a large population of people that wants to ask questions about what they believe, which leads to questions about what is consciousness, which leads to questions about what is my reality or what is reality. And for people that want to get deeper in the spiritual and metaphysics is my reality shiftable? Is my reality being created and I don't know that my reality is being created, even though I create part of my reality, other people can actually come in and change yours. But the question of what now can leave us feeling almost helpless because there's certain things that are collapsing within this empire. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. You just know it. It is what it is. We can make a point to call out certain things, which I think people should. But all deconstructing is really a form of reconstructing. And if it's not done with intention, you're just essentially building on top of a framework that that probably doesn't work in the first place. Building on top of a framework that doesn't even work in the first place. There's something new that's taking place, y'all. There's something different that's taking place, y'all. Me and my wife are watching this series. I think it's on Amazon Prime related to dinosaurs, but I've never watched a show related to dinosaurs that takes the planet back to Pangea, the solid core, hot ball of dust planet. Like it just be like a planet. And over the course of, it's in the Earth at 6 billion years, just the Earth core, but then just 300 million years or so in terms of the whole shifting of the continent, of the land mass and water and heat and so many different things. This has taken place. If a person wants to believe that God did it, that's fine. Did he just come down and do it and bam bam, or was it something that taken place over time, right? I think the earth is alive with us, and I believe, and I just know that there is a divine source of connection, of understanding. There's a divine source that we can tap into because we're already with it. And that's the thing. What now is, how do we tap deeper into the expansion of consciousness? How do we move into the next iteration of human life as they look in the textbooks and they see the great shift? I'm here to tell you, mark my words, mark my words. You're living and witnessing what will be known as the great shift. 5 years after the pandemic, something that shook the whole entire world, when a loose virus goes throughout an entire population of the world and it shuts the entire world down as they have known it. Never in the history had they experienced anything like it. We've had plagues, but nothing like this, especially within our lifetime. But the great shift of consciousness, the great shift of what we hold true. Why do we keep the Constitution, hold the Constitution true, or hold the Constitution to be in America, the documents that we follow, and we have added amendments to it to hopefully make things better for people. Just a mere 60 something years ago, within the lifetime of a lot of people that are listening to me right now, we lived in a world where what you would do and call an immigrant today, it was not a big deal to make people like myself be illegal, be criminals. You can take a black person during Jim Crow laws and you can create, or you make whatever you want to be of that person, and everyone has to follow suit and say, yeah, like that's what it is. And all these people were basically lying. Martin Luther King was hated, wasn't loved by a lot of the people of that time. The great shift has a lot to do with the fractioning of our systems and our institutions. Power has a way of feeling like power has a way of feeling like it can control and take over anything, anything. And the hope or the calculations of what we are experiencing now is that everything will either work out or it won't. It'll collapse, right? And there's people that out there that don't care if it collapses. They're in a great position in life that if it does collapse, it will be okay for them because then they can bring forth more of their vision and hope for the world that is better suited for certain people. I say all these things just to say that if we don't lean into consciousness, if we don't lean into the expansion of consciousness, if we don't lean into a lot of the things that people called new age and the people that call it woke and a lot of the things that, and I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing and I'm not talking about the woo woo side of this. I'm talking about bona fide actualizing, bona fide understanding of your power of the collective consciousness and being able to move and shape shift the world in which we desire collectively. Yeah, it's a process. It can be really tough. It could be really tough. But for us to move into what is taking place, no matter if we want to or not, we have the ability and we must, it is required that we begin to have the spirit and essence of a Sarah Rector, sensing that there's oil on the land and being able to endure, being able to endure the things that are coming against her as a kid and still allowed to take what's and have what's rightfully hers in an era and time that they were willing to kill people to take your deed. They did. They would kill young girls just to take their deed. No justice. We've been living in a space where justice hasn't been fair. In the great shift, it's kind of wild, almost like Wild Wild West, where you have alchemists, where you have these people that are, we don't know how they're doing it. Some people call them devils, and some people call them witches, and some people call they may even be like calling yourself a Christian, but you know, somehow these people are able to live a life outside of the system that is that has taken power away from the people. It's a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in consciousness. The illusions of life is shifting. And it doesn't mean that it's shifting in a great space for everyone. Okay, so I say all that. Now the question is, how do I shift? What do I need to shift? Where do I need to shift? Right? Hmm. So we're not going to be talking about some kindergarten metaphysics because reality creation is not positive thinking. Alchemy is not just a self delusion with this spiritual branding going on it. This is expanded consciousness, something that you feel, right? Something that is deeper than just belief as performance. What do you believe? I believe this. So if you are experiencing right now, I feel in myself that you live out your days, and some of you guys are going to live out your days, but 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 we're gonna push forth something within that is going to allow you to live out your days and some, because we're shifting, and we're not going to allow certain things to penetrate too much of us, and we're going to, and within this comes the physical. You're going to shift the way you eat, you're going to shift the way you think, you're going to shift the way you talk, making sure you can catch those words that you are saying that is not adding to your life. I'm talking about the relationship between consciousness, identity, embodiment, symbolism, and even material reality. We are affected by the material reality. Every time I feed my dogs, I'm like, you have pets and you got to feed them. And then why is it that they got to go use the bathroom? How come it couldn't have been invented where it's just like, you know what? I got this pet doesn't, the dogs never use the bathroom, but then we'll have something else we're complaining about. See, I'm talking about the fact that human beings do not merely observe reality. We're participating in it, y'all. We're organizing it through meaning. We're organizing it through attention. We're organizing it through expectations, emotions, and language, memories, and actions. We have to shift. Understand that Easter is coming. And why is Easter coming? Because it was told to us that Easter is coming. And we do things to celebrate it because we're told to celebrate it. I'm not saying that you don't need to celebrate it, but just understand that the conditioning in which we have lived and this thing, it's time that we awaken to shift a lot of what we have done or a lot of what has been told to do. It's time to shift because it's already shifting. What we hold as real can affect what we perceive, it can affect what we permit, and we will repeat what we build and eventually what we become. So belief matters, but understanding, and when I say knowledge, I'm talking about the infinite that's within. And I'm not talking about just books, Bart, but because knowledge is deeper than belief, right? Because your knowledge or your understanding or your understanding can switch what you believe to be true. I'm good. I'm here to tell you that there was a time, and there's probably people that's listening to me now that you believe in levels of hell. Catholics believe actually in levels of hell, right? You believe in those things. And what caused you to shift and be like, me? What caused me to shift? It's just not believing in the hell that I was raised with, which pretty much everybody in America, for the most part, if that level of Christianity and understand about preterists and all those different things, it was a requirement. Jesus comes back was never told to us that John Nelson Darby in the 1800s, white man, Calvinist, I think, was a person that a theologian that orchestrated and written and kind of developed end times theology, eschatology. It was, you just get all these things automatic. But what was it that shifted from the end times and then shifted hell? It was like a weight and relief that lifted off when no longer that a person has to believe it. And I know people have to believe it. People listen to me have to believe it, and I get it. It's a form of justice. It's a form of like, what does it mean not to believe that? How can a person not believe that? What you may be experiencing is what we call cognitive dissonance. Because if you take every last one of your family and be like, okay, so all my family that ever died, I have to, you don't have to do anything, and you can just be like, well, God has it. I'll leave it to God. I'll just give it to God. God can judge because maybe they asked for God in their hearts before he, because in our head, in our life, we're raised for we are in a world where God is more human than God. God is just more of like a superhero, but a superhero is human versus it just being an essence that you can't really comprehend or explain. All we can do is just talk about the kind of like just the ideas of what it is. When you start talking about that level of love that exists. Belief, this is good. You've heard this before. Belief still has doubt inside of it. Did you know that? If you believe something, there's still an element of doubt. Belief is often trying to convince itself. Belief still negotiates with fear, going back to the hell. See, belief can be inherited. Belief can be borrowed. Belief can be a social thing. But when you know, how many of y'all know when you know you move differently? It's not you cannot convince me one way or another. You can't use a book to convince me that what I know to be true for me, for what you believe. A lot of times you'd be like, you don't know. We just don't know because we ain't never died. That might be one of your problems. Because when you die to the self and you allow these things to work in you and through you, when you come into contact and you have a mystical experience with the oneness, all of a sudden things shift in your life. And you really can begin to feel and connect to the divine. When you know you don't have to perform certainty, you embody alignment. You don't have to grasp for any level of power. Power begins to power begins to work within you. It's an energy. You're not going to chant your way into some fantasy. You have to become. You have to shift internally. It has to integrate. I had to get this. I had to get this. It's one of the most difficult things is understanding that I have to become. I'm not going to just things can come and they can manifest in your life, but that's still with you becoming something. In other words, things that just boom. I don't know how it happened. Yeah, it happened because possibly something shifted in that. And if you want to be consistent, what I'm learning, if you want to be consistent with this thing, if you want to be consistent, then something has to shift within you and you have to become integrated in your thinking, in your feeling, because that's tied to your nervous system. And that's also tied to your language and how you speak. Your actions stop contradicting each other. You can't be, it's as they say, faith without works is dead. It's not just talking about just working to work. The works of shifting who you are, and then if you shift who you are and you become something. I used to say, if you a person says, I want to have some level of abundance or wealth. A lot of times we won't even think that anymore, or we'll think it and we can be driven not to think it because there's so many things when it comes to certain levels of abundance that it can really drive us to have a negative feeling towards those who do, because of the people, some of those people that do have a certain level of abundance actually can act a certain way or be a certain way, or it causes them to do certain things to individual people. And they say that money has changed him or her. And it better. You don't, you have to vibrate at the frequency in which you are allowed to, right, do what you do. There's a law out there. I'm here to tell y'all there's a law out there. And it just doesn't matter. Donald Trump manifested his reality in which he's living. How does a person that would be a multi-felon, bad business practices, this and that, all these different things. How does a person, yeah, you can call it manipulation, you can call it whatever, but I'm here to tell you there's a lot of people that um have money that want that role or took that role or try to get that role of president. And really it's not just the president, it really has more to do with conquering a system or institution. He conquered the system or the institution of the GOP. It's a whole different ball game. He manifested that. See station and coming and bringing into your reality. And he really, he believed man, there's a thing out. You can look at it, and it's about lies. There's something that happens to your brain and your body that when you lie leads to another lie. And then as you keep lying, you believe the lies and your whole entire behaviors become lies. Like that's just what you do. You just make up stuff. And some of this stuff starts becoming true. There's no there's no when it comes to these laws, I'm sorry. It's the same way if you drop a baby out of a building, you know, I'm sorry. It's the thing of the law of gravity is the law of gravity. And in order to beat the law of gravity, there's probably a way. We're just unaware of how, even within us. There's a lot that we're unaware of and we just don't know it or don't want to admit it. One of the things I wanted to reiterate was knowing, knowing, because as you know, you become integrated with your thinking. The whole point of meditation is to be integrated with your thinking, to be integrated with your feelings, becoming more aware as conscious, a level of consciousness. All that's tied to your nervous system and even your language. When I say your language is what words are you saying to yourself? Listen, they talk about, and it's interesting, you talk about the lust of a man's heart. The thing is how you feel about yourself with words you don't even say can affect you. You know that? It's different. This is going from deconstructing to what we call alchemy. So what now? You're reconstructing, I promise you. Or some people have already quote deconstructed. And I think it's something that you do all the time because it's not just your beliefs, I mean not just your religion, it can be a lot of different things. But how do we move it into alchemy? Because deconstructing is not the main goal, it's liberation. It's liberation. It's liberation. We have to deconstruct. It's necessary. You know, you could deconstruct religion and you could still be trapped. I want you to hear that. You could deconstruct some of it, but you could still be trapped. You can deconstruct your politics and still be trapped. You can deconstruct racial narratives or racial identity stuff, gender identity stuff, still be trapped. Money, all the narratives you have about money, all the narratives you have about success, the narratives you have about family. Jesus. You can have all those and still be trapped. You know why? Because what traps us as humans is not only that, it's not only belief, it is a lot of to do with the structure of the unconscious self. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, it will call you fate. What are we unconscious of? I'm here to tell you, I know that I'm unconscious of some of the things that I might do or might not do. I can look at my whole life. I can go through my bedroom. I can look at my laundry. I can look at things and be like, oh, I need to fix something about me. And a lot of that, though, comes from being self aware. How do you get more self aware? Through meditation, integration, contemplation.
to shift. We're shifting who we are, and we're saying, I need to have better habits in order to shift. Who are you becoming? I need to have better habits in order to shift to the vibration in which I want to live. So you got to have clarity. You have to have clarity. And a lot of times, what gets in front of your clarity is a lot of the unconscious behaviors and a lot of things that we call out to be like too much. Rather, it's like a book you want to leave on the planet of Earth. You got a story you want to write. You got something that you're doing. Unless you're completely, totally, 100% full and you have completed your mission. Think nobody's mission's complete until it's not complete in this body until you leave it. I think great wise ones would be old and they would speak until they left. They would commit themselves until they're gone out of the body. A lot of this is where a lot of people leave one religion or they leave one side of religion and come out another one pretty quick. That's why you can have people that lead a church and end up atheists or lead the church and end up something else, one dogma to another. One authority, and they go to another authority. And that's not awakening. It's just a transfer of your dependence of your dependent need on being needing to be told what to do after so much social conditioning of being told what to do. You got to be careful because you can become addicted to just deconstructing. You can become addicted to the dismantling, right? In other words, you become really good at figuring out the hypocrisy, right? We can be in a space where Bishop and I would talk about that every once in a while, where Bishop had to deal with a lot of people, and at times they called him Mike Williams. We call him the voice of reasoning. He had a show, and I think they said like the voice of reasoning, and it was like, and at times, his earlier show in Expanded Consciousness in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, I'm sorry, 2011. He had some wonderful shows on Expanded Consciousness and talked about some of the things I'm talking about here. But then there was a lot of times that we have to repeat and talk a lot about, which is necessary at times. You talk about a lot of the things that people are saying that is not necessarily Bible or is their version of the Bible and, bad theology. I get it. There's at times that a person might need to be there, but what we have to be careful is that alone can become addictive. And then therefore, where do we go? Or the other thing is we're building the same thing we had, just it's just better, right? More free and more open, more inclusive. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. Follow me. I'm just talking about the great shift in the evolution of the human species. Just the evolution of it. We see that easy today. Once you see through the illusion, you have to ask yourself the question, once I see through it, What in me still belongs to that? Hmm. Once you criticize certain parts of the system, like I do, I have to ask myself, what in me still psychologically organized by that same system? And I'll say, once I have said I'm free, what habits and fears, wounds, and what identity still govern within me beneath the surface? This is deconstructing. Are you still getting mad in the car at other people when you drive down the road? Are you quick to are you quick to fend? I had a client one time and we talked about that, where you're in the car getting upset just because you got something going, but getting upset at the person and the people outside of the car. And guess who is getting affected by that? The individual. This is a form of alchemy. So, alchemy begins when you stop merely reacting against what shaped you and you begin to consciously transform the raw material of your life into another way of being, right? How do you do that? How do you do that? Well, you're doing it. You're doing it. You're hearing it right now, and that brings you into some level of contemplation. I'm going to be done here in a second, but what I want you to know, I'm going to go over this. Alchemy. Old alchemists used the language of talking about lead into gold. I don't know if you remember that. But what they were really pointing to was not just metal, even though that's where we get that. They were pointing to basically human beings. They were pointing to the possibility that something dense, wounded, fragmented, unconscious, and weighed down in us could be subject to a deep process, that it would become to change in nature. Changed. This is not spiritual language. I'm not trying to rebrand anything. I'm not talking new age. I'm talking about mind, awareness, shifting. See, this is where the conversation gets serious because a lot of people want some levels of transformation like it's an aesthetic, like it's just you know what I mean? It's just throwing on some yoga pants and going to the yoga studio and talking the language and wearing the scarves. Don't get it twisted. I got all the goods, but I don't want to just sound transformed or I don't want to look transformed. I don't want to just talk about all the people. I know the people, we know the people, the transform people, some of our own gurus. They talk about not having a guru, but we have some great people doing some great things. We want all the language and the expansion, but we don't want to submit ourselves. We don't want to submit ourselves to the hard, to the fire that expansion requires. Right? What I'm working on and what I'm putting together requires a lot of change. I realize that I have to change. my patterns and my behaviors. I have to become something. I am becoming something. When Bishop shifted, it wasn't just shifting platforms. It wasn't just shifting platforms, because you can just have a platform and still live out doing the same thing that he was doing, thinking that this is the iteration or this is the change, right? We can build out all kinds of things that we would want to see with Bishop Carlton Pearson. Was a wonderful, great person. But the thing about the passing of a baton, if you're in a race, see, he had a baton and he didn't have one baton. He left what he left and said, here's what I feel. And you followed me and we were all cool. I was really cool with him. That was my homie. Right. And we love doing expanded consciousness. We love talking about this. We love this. This was our life. This is what we did outside of just talking to y'all. Expanding and talking about expanding and coming together and having the community. This was something that was bigger than us. And I realized after switching and going from his platform and just saying, I'm going to do my own platform. It's been 2 years. I'll be 50 this year. And there's something to do with what an individual might have to experience. And are you willing to go through the fire? Are you willing to have that moment where it seems like some things may not work out or working out for you? When it seems like, and the thing is, don't get it twisted, some things don't work out for us. And I'm here to tell you too, you can make the wrong decision or the wrong decisions and it doesn't work out like it's supposed to, or it should, and evidently it shouldn't, because you're not tapping in and tuning in and turning on and getting to know more of the self and actually doing the work. We can sit back and want to lose weight, but even if you want to lose weight, you have to get it in your mind that I'm going to go to the doctor to get some help, and I'm going to actually take the time. I'm gonna use my manifestation, right? But really, what I want to do is I want to shift who I am. I want to shift this reality of who I am into who I'm becoming, and I have to have some level of clarity to what that is. And you can't give up. You can't get stuck. You can't give up. You can't get stuck. We have come from a world of performance, especially in our country, no matter what it is. And certain performances require talent. But the kind of performance I'm talking about is putting on the suit or putting on the scarf or putting on the stuff. And that alchemy becoming just the performance of the appearance of it versus the process of it. See, we're going through a process. It has been about what happens when the false begins to burn off. And what remains can no longer stay. Burning off those illusions and those ideas and becoming all of who we are. See, there's no time frame. If somebody would have told me, hey, this is all going to take place of what you had a vision for, because I've had these visions of who I am and what I am to do 25 years ago. And if somebody had been like, well, it's going to all work, this is all working out, but you're going to have 3 kids and a mortgage. And all your friends are going to die. Your people that brought you here to this in a spiritual, metaphysical sense. So when we talk about moving from deconstructing into alchemy, what now? Deconstructing into alchemy. That's what now. See, I'm not merely just talking and asking questions about the things we're being taught. See, that's the beginning. Everything we have done in the beginning is not the end. And I'm saying that there comes a point where you have to let the questioning turn inward. You have to let this questioning turn inward. You have to ask yourself, where am I divided? Where am I still performing? And this is not necessarily come out in public. Where you divided a lot of times come out in how people are responding to you. How about your family, right? If they cool. How about your living room? How about your bathroom in your car? How about the way you living? Right? Am I driven by fear? How's your discernment? See, this is when we begin to embody. You begin to embody. So we're moving from deconstructing. What now? Moving from deconstructing into alchemy. There's a book that is on um there's a couple of books, but there's one particular book that I'm gonna give you that is on YouTube. I have the actual you got the physical book, I have the audio version, but it's on YouTube and it's called Parallel Universe. Parallel Universe. If you get a chance, write that down and you can listen to Parallel Universe. One of the things that I would have in expanded consciousness is, yeah, we will have sections on what deconstructing is and deconstructing things, but that is like deconstructing our beliefs to me is like basically 101 if we was to have like a college course. If we was to have any level, it's 101. It is not a 2 level class or 3 level class. By the time you get into a higher level advanced classes, deconstructing is just kind of part of the you already know that it's there. You know that that's a forever thing that is stored, that is like, hmm. And you ask that question, what do I believe? Why do I believe it? And how does this add to or subtract? Wait, let me deconstruct that real quick. What do I believe? Okay. I believe that what do I believe? This soda is good. Why do I believe that? Because it's got sugar and it tastes good, right? Because I feel it. And now, how does that add to or subtract to the quality of my life? Well, it's not, I have to drink liquids, but I could drink water. I like the soda part of it. Get you some gases out. Do I need the sugar? So I'm contemplating what I believe about that. But I do know that I don't want that every day. I do know that I'm not going to do that every day. I'll use something else that doesn't have those ingredients. So I deconstructed why I don't want that. And that's just with the physical thing, right? You feel like I deserve it, I need it. But if that was right there, if I got type 2 diabetes or if I got diabetes 1, if I got diabetes, it doesn't matter if I say, what do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do those beliefs add to a shake? If I have diabetes, it doesn't matter. My blood or my body, as it processes sugar, dealing with insulin, it's out of alignment. It's out of alignment. So therefore, it doesn't matter necessarily what you believe. What we know is it's out of alignment. So all of a sudden deconstructing that from having that perception and knowing that you're living in that space. I'm living in this space. That means that I have to do certain things or can't do certain things because of how I'm living. It's the reason why some of our leaders, you can drive whatever you want to drive, right? I call it that. You could live how you want to live, but depending on what you do, it might not be perceived, excuse me, really well. People have to make those choices. I have more on this, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably take some of this and put this in the Patreon so that we can really get into. I'm switching some things up. What am I becoming, right? I'm building the Institute of Expanded Consciousness. What is that? That is a space for us to alchemize, honestly. One of the old mystery schools, so that we can just not just sit back and deconstruct, but we can reconstruct and we can bounce off with ideas and we can begin to live the lives of the great shift. Now, a lot of these things and a lot of these old teachings of the spiritual world and metaphysics, a lot of that stuff is going to come into play. Transpersonal psychology, it's spirituality and science coming together in terms of understanding there's an element that we don't understand, and there's an element of within the physics that may not fully add up. But doing certain things can lead to certain things. Believe in a certain way energetically can shift. No matter if you are a person that has some moral character, because it doesn't have to, even if you don't have a moral character, you can actually bring things into your reality, and it may hurt other people, or you may be willing to hurt other people. I ask that you take a deep breath and you release it. Do you know about the breath? Do you know about what that does? Take another deep breath and release. Y'all, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that we are experiencing some of the most uncertain times in this lifetime. Now, don't get it wrong. It's different. It's different. It's a different uncertainty than it was during slavery or civil rights. This is different. Yes. How is this different, Malachi? How is now different in this uncertainty of time than it was over the last 60 or 100 years? I'm here to tell you it's because you are empowered. to not only seek knowledge and understand, but you have the ability to embody it and begin to make shifts, begin to make changes. Just imagine this: you can invest in the right thing, and it clicks. You can make the right turn into the thing that changes your life. It's time to make some right turns. You hear me? We're going to make some good turns here. Everybody that's listening to me, start reading books on consciousness if you haven't, or any of you if you have. Start reading books on co-creating your world, living beyond belief, like the one I just mentioned, Parallel Universe, reality shifting. We have to become more aware of what we're thinking. We got to become more aware of what we're saying. And we got to become aware of not what we're listening to, not what we're hearing. We can hear plenty. You can hear plenty. But it's something when you listen to something. What are you listening to? As a man thinketh, so is he. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, visiting Expanded Consciousness here on this Thursday evening. I'm going to share a lot more into the Patreon leading up to the opening of the Institute of Expanded Consciousness, and people can get courses in there. I'm going to have some in Patreon, but the school is going to have videos and everything hosted somewhere else. But it's designed to help us shift, assist us in shifting. As they talk about the school of greatness. There's a lot of ancient teachings out there that helped us become who we are, to the point where now we are so powerful with what we can do. We got to keep from destroying ourselves. Expanded Consciousness, Patreon is there. I'm putting together a new list of offerings and things that are going to be in the Patreon group. I had a post last night just on some of the things. And so make sure, if you're a member in there, make sure you go interact and read and participate. And if you got any suggestions, If you rather have things in video versus reading, I can do that. Um, Give me suggestions and but we're going somewhere, right? We're doing some things and we're going somewhere. Um, and it all has to do with the shift because we're shifting as a species and as the planet itself is shifting. There is the Cash App. I appreciate you for all the contributions that helps me make continue to um, somewhat do this, and so, but we're shifting. It's who you're becoming. Um, the manifestation of what is possible vibrates at the frequency in which you're able to bring that and bring that and hopefully manage that and actually live in that. Feel me? You you living in that space. Um, Last thing, I don't know if I have a banner or anything on there in here. I thought I did. Uh, it's still in the books, if you want to call it books, but it's still I am still doing insight timer. So that's also in the Patreon. I try to put that in there, and it's on my Facebook. So insight timer is Sunday at 7:30, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. It's a whole different kind of community. I have a somewhat of a different approach in there, um, but it's a whole different group of people. Maybe some people might have found me here, um, but I don't. We don't do any major announcements of Patreon. I don't do any major announcements of anything outside of Patreon. So make sure you there's more to come. There's I've had some people have booked for the retreat. Thank you if you've already booked, and that's available um, wherever you find me. It's on my Facebook. Um, that is there. It will be on my website tomorrow. All the website changes that are being done, and so um, it's going to be a good time. I'm here to tell you there's a lot of cheating that I can do at the forest because the forest itself speaks. It just speaks by itself, let alone the understanding what will take place and happen. So inside timer at 7:30 on Sunday. You just have to download the app. I'll make sure I get a link on my website so that you can just go there and find all the links and everything else that's there. And I appreciate you for your time, for being here with me and spending this time together. And I want to give a few shout outs once again for those who are with me. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Mother Gwen.
Lately, I've been lost in my mind, wearing all these
Oh,
hats
thank
with
you,
no
Miss Velma.
mind.
Miss Velma's been with me.
Feel the
Some of
pain
y'all have, but I know for a fact Miss Velma was
hard to be
when I
worth.
was with Bishop, she was around.
I was raised on give to get.
Thank you so much. Miss Marie. Oh, Miss Wanda. Miss Wanda Caldwell. Brother Garrett. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. You got Kansas on there, baby. Who was it? Oh yeah, there it is. Miss Marie. She's talking about breath work there. There you go, Miss Marie. Hopefully you can we'll get connected tomorrow. It's in my destiny. Hey! That's Celeste. Celeste is in the room. That's so sweet. Thank you, Miss Marie, for your comments. Make sure everybody's. Oh, Holly. Holly made it, and Mother Gwen, Mother Imogene. There's my little brother, DJ Chuck G. Oh, Tia. And brother, of course, my friend, dear friend, John Thomas and Tiara. Shara. Thank y'all. I know a lot of people. Oh, Stana, that's cool. Stana, you should be able to come to talk. I plan on having a fall retreat, and I know quite a few people want to come into the fall retreat. Since my destiny. Oh yeah, you good, Miss Wanda. Yeah, this is beautiful. It's good to see you, Miss Stana. I know a lot of people come through. It's kind of hard to see, but a lot of people come through. They watch it, as you watch it, and you just never know who's watching. My only my main hope is that you feel seen, you feel seen, and you feel that there's life, outside of what we've been told, and there's an expansion that is with us. It's here with us. And I want you to know that not everyone can do it. A lot of people are not privileged to the information for some reason or another, or they're blinded. And so hopefully you get something out of it. Parallel Universe, free on YouTube. I'll try to have a book recommendation, maybe something I'll find on YouTube. There's quite a few. And that's a good one. That's a good one that you can just listen to, because what the goal is, honestly, is deconstructing, but really what the goal is like, I want to help everyone that follows and people that are connected to have a shift in their life, or shifts in their life, to the point where I begin to do some of these things, or you begin to do some of these things, and you begin to have real life turnarounds, and they have shifts, and you have the ability to live beyond belief. If you don't want to live beyond belief, if you don't want to take your life to the next iteration of whatever that is, and I'm not talking about materialistically, I'm talking about physically and mentally, I'm talking about all those things. If your spirituality doesn't change your reality, It's just woo woo. Nobody wants to be sick, busted, right? You sick, you broke. Nobody wants to be around you. You stink. Um, what else? Right? Just all the stuff. But yet though you spiritual. That's fine. Yeah, it's true. But that's a vibration or a frequency that um I believe that, or I know that there's an alignment with this universe that can allow us to be in a space that allow us to grow and to live and to share. Thank you for coming. I'm here every Thursday and let's not announce. So you don't have to wait on an announcement. I'll try to get them out early, but you don't have to wait on an announcement to know if I'm going to be here on Thursday. I'm going to be here on Thursday at 8:30 no matter what. And if I'm not, I will let you know. But for the most part, if I'm not, I'm going to pre-record and put a message on there that lets you know I'm not there or I'm here. So no matter what, 8:30 p.m. Central for now. I don't know if anything ever will change. But I'm here. I love doing this. This is the minute that we get to all come together as one, as a family. And so I appreciate you, all that are here, all that participate. And I look forward to seeing some of you on Sunday, Inside Timer, and I'll probably go live also in the Patreon here coming up on special times. And so that'd be with us. And then, of course, we'll bring back at least, at minimum, once a month, maybe twice a month at minimum, we'll come together on Zoom. I want to make sure that we get in there and be able to see each other. All right, y'all. Love you. Okay. Oh, that's so sweet. Let's see. Yes, thank you. What do you have to say, Miss Tana? Oh, tell me about it, sis. Tell me about it. You, the thing is, Stana, you're good, and I've read some of your stuff back in the Carlton days, and I'm here to tell you, yeah, you be quiet, and you talk about reconstructing of the constructed of the reconstructed. The thing is I'm here to tell you, um, you've done some work. You really have, and um, I love it when I've read some of your stuff and you open up. Like it's beautiful. That's one thing is like I might not be able to reach the people that you can reach. And I know that for a fact, right? Because I'm I'm definitely not that pretty, you know. Yeah, I'm not, there's a few people that might, you know. That's funny. All right, y'all. It's been real. Woo! I'm working on some stuff. I've been working on some new music that I want to release. More of a still an album, but it's more of a meditation worship type of a deal. Uh, yeah, I can't stop doing the music thing because of the fact that it brings me joy, and the other thing is it's so powerful. And I got some new versions of some of these songs, and they're really powerful. Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even. I mean, we had some wins, but it really wasn't. You know, Tulsa's a pretty good size. I mean, so they'll say Tulsa, 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 and I mean that thing is a 20-minute drive from me. You don't even know anything that's around. And I think it hit somewhere maybe about 4 or 5 miles from me. It's close enough, but um, I'm thankful that I got a place to be. Um, I feel really safe in a brick, solid, hardcore rock. It's not even brick. This house is this stone right here. That's what's on the outside of this house. Um, and so it's cool. Like I've been in something. I've been in homes where you're like, oh Jesus, this is probably not the house you want to be in. But it's all good. I just, I feel good. There's other things to work on in my life. So, oh man, she's a brick house. Yes, yes. Much love to y'all. Any, you know, Facebook, send me in DMs if there's anything you ever want to request, you want to hear, you're ever feeling. Send me a direct message on Facebook. That's one way you can definitely reach me. And Instagram. I'm all over. And we'll soon, you can reach my website, but I'm about to put some new stuff up on it. So, all right, y'all. We are good to go. I love y'all. Don't forget the Patreon, and there's a little bit of that there. And we'll see you next week or this weekend on Inside Timer. Peace.
Miracles come knocking like a quiet melody. You got to let them in to set your spirit free. The universe is humming a tune you can't ignore. So open up your heart, there's always something more. Oh, miracles, oh, magic, they dance up in the sky. Believe them with your soul and watch the reasons why. Manifest your wonder, let the journey start. Miracles like rivers, they flow into your heart. They say the world is wild, an untamed mystery. But if you close your eyes, belief is the key. Glimmering in darkness like whispers in the rain. Miracles will guide you through the joy and through the pain. Oh, miracles, oh, magic, they dance up in the sky. Believe them with your soul and watch the reasons why. If you close your eyes, belief is the key. Glimmering in darkness like whispers in the rain. Miracles will guide you through the joy and through the pain. Shy away if you want, kid, be afraid if you dare. But this life's no performance, no need for a snare. They'll judge you, they'll doubt you, but don't lose your flame. Miracles are waiting, just call them by name. Oh miracles, oh magic, they dance up in the sky.